Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and the purpose of this video is going to be to show you how to create NPX scripts and how to use Commander for doing so. Commander is a library to help you make command line tools. NPX is a way of using a library in NPM without having to download it. This is usually used because the library is really meant as like a one-time script. It's not something that you need to install because you're just using it on a when needed basis. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open up a terminal, new terminal, and I'm gonna run this command npx because this is another script that I wrote. merced-spinup, which spins up templates. merced-spinup. I'm gonna spin up the commander template, and I'm gonna call this my cool CLI tool. Okay, cool. And that should do it. See there, my cool CLI tool. So I'm going to cd into that, my cool CLI tool. I'm going to do an npm install, so it installs Commander and any other dependencies I have in this package. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff in this package. Really, the only things you need to ever touch are the package.json, because you need to give it a name for your particular library. So I'm going to call it Alex Merced CLI tool. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we care about what the main file is, but if you're using this template, this should be fine. Index.js. It just means that when you use npx, it's gonna by default run whatever the main file is. So when you do npx Alex Merced CLI tool, it'll just by default run this file. So these scripts really don't matter, and none of that really matters. Okay, bin is if you want to set this up in a way, like if you're like talking about like the Angular CLI tool or the Vue CLI tool that installs and creates like a global CLI command on your computer that can be used at any time, then you do need to use this, and you do need to put like a hashbang for node at the top of your script. That's a conversation for another day. Okay. But basically what happens here, index just kind of makes sure that everything happens, so there's nothing to do there. Same thing with program, it's just initializing some things. So the only things you really need to touch are options and actions. So options, okay, what you do is you specify, well, options, okay. So let me just do a few from scratch. So program represents your program. That again is already configured, so you don't really need to do anything there. You just need to be like dot option. And the first thing you pass in is what is the option. So we'll say -v, okay, which is -- variable. So we're passing in a variable. Okay. And then as a second argument, okay, it's just basically a description of this command. Pass in variable. Okay. And basically, and then I want to pass in a variable, so after the -- var I need to just specify that. Okay, there we go. So that way it knows that a variable is expected afterwards. So it parses, because what this does, it parses the command and any arguments passed to the command that triggered this. So basically it's going to look for this v flag and then automatically assume that the argument afterwards is this type variable. That's essentially what this parse does. Okay, that passes it on to actions. In this actions file, we can define what we do with it. So I'm going to get rid of these two if statements. And basically, it's always stashed in a name. So program dot whatever the name is of our script here, which was var. So it's in program dot var. So we do an if basically if they didn't put the flag, the flag is going to be undefined, so it'll fail the if check. And then here we can just describe what do we do if that. So in that case, we'll just console.log program.var, which just should be whatever variable we passed into it. Okay, and then that's our program for now. So let's just test that out. So if I do node index.js, and then I pass in the v flag for variable, and then I pass in the variable cheese. See, all it does is console log cheese. That's it. Okay, so you've created the thing, and you can make this elaborate as as you want. Okay, so then what we would do is you would then publish it to npm. So now I need to create a Git repository. So git init, git commit dash m, or I'll first have to do a git add, git add dot git commit dash m with stuff. Okay. Now once I have that set up, and actually let me just make sure my package.js was already set up. So Alex Merced CLI tool. This has already been changed. So yeah, this is all good to go. So then I would just type in npm publish, and this will publish it. Okay, and this is assuming that you already have npm, you've done npm login to log into npm, then you do npm publish. Keep in mind that the name cannot match another name in the npm directory. If you decide to use your username in a style like this, @AlexMerced / then the library name, then it's going to assume it's private, so you have to use like a public flag. So usually something like this may be the simplest way to go if you're going to try to make it unique, or some sort of prefix, something to that regard. But you'll get a message like this: it's successfully published. So now you can use npx. Okay, so when I do npx Alex Merced CLI tool, what's going to happen is that it's assuming that I want to use the default script of this. So the default script is this main.js, which triggers this whole commander thing. So then I can pass in any arguments I want to pass into that script, which would be the -v flag again, and cheese. So then it loads it and runs a command. Oh, wait, what did I call it again? Alex Merced CLI tool. npx Alex Merced CLI tool. Okay. I think maybe it does need to be here and under bin. So let's try that out. So if I change this to Alex Merced CLI tool. Okay. So under this bin command, which is for commands. So let me hit save. Well, what was that before? Nah, just leave it. Save. And I need to change the version number because I have to republish it to npm. And anytime you publish to npm, you can't have the same version number. It won't let you publish. So now I have to do a git add dot git commit dash m version, and then we'll do an npm publish again with the new version number. Okay, so it's published. So now I can try this again. npx Alex Merced CLI tool, and then I can pass in the -v flag and cheese. Okay, and then it is permission denied, syntax error. Okay, it's complaining because of this, complaining because of the comments. Okay, so in that case, so let's get rid of all these comments real quick. Okay. Any other comments? Okay, so I'll save all that. But then I think I also need to include a shebang. So this is a shebang. And this would go, I think, just on top of the main script right here, because that's what runs first. Or that's the entry point. Okay, so this basically says, okay, run this script with Node. So let's try that out. So I need to actually change the version number again, package.json. So let's change this to 1.02. Okay, save, git add dot, sorry for all the sirens, I live in Brooklyn, which is loud. Git commit dash m stuff. And then let's do an npm publish. Okay, now let's try that command again. npx. And good, it works. Okay. So that should all allow it to work. So you need to make the shebang, and make sure you don't read the comments, because it basically initially is going to sort of run it through bash. Bash doesn't necessarily recognize those comments, so that triggers the error. So that is the deal there, and that's it. You have an npx command. Now I want to get rid of this because no one's going to use this. This was just a test. So to get rid of it, I'm going to do npm unpublish. You could also, there's also a deprecate command. So if it was a real library, but you know, some people might still be using it, you could use deprecate instead of unpublish. Unpublish is you're going to remove it altogether. Okay, so in this case, I do want to remove it because no one's going to use it. This is just a joke tool. So npm unpublish Alex Merced CLI tool. Okay, npm unpublish Alex Merced CLI tool. And what I want to do is npm publish Alex Merced CLI tool. Oh, and then I want to do force. The reason being is that you have to specify like a version number, and you get rid of each version number one by one, or you can just get rid of the whole thing this way, but you have to put in this force flag, which will force npm to get rid of it. So I'm going to do that. It's going to be like, I sure hope you know what you're doing, but see, it's gone now. Okay, so that's the ins and outs. Again, you can download this commander template. I'll update it to get rid of those comments, so that way you don't have to worry about deleting those comments and have the shebang already in there. But yeah, that will all be done when you guys decide to play with this thing. So ciao.